folks are looking for one community, a community, the community. But the truth is, community is hard. Hi, Al. Doc Martha here. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I've been working with children and families for the last 20 years and doing trauma-informed schools work for the last 13. Today, I want to talk a little bit about community. Everywhere I look these days, it seems like people are talking about community, encouraging community, telling people to get in community. And I think they're right. I have talked about community myself. I believe that community is really important and is part of how we're going to manage the mess that is going on in the world right now. But when I speak to individuals about community, I feel like folks are looking for one community, a community, the community, right? Their community. And that somehow that one community is going to provide all the things they need and support them in all the ways that they want to be supported. But the truth is, community is hard. I think that part of the reason we're looking for a single community is because when we look back at communities that we were a part of, let's say your college friend group, it's easy for us to be like, oh, that was the best group. Those people really had my back. Like they were the people I was closest to. It's easy to remember those with some nostalgia. As a psychologist, I hear people all the time talk about a past group of friends in really positive ways. And then when I say, but wait, wasn't that the friend that stole your rent money? Or wasn't that the same friend who left you without a ride at a bar? It's easy for us to sort of cover over those times and think about what good times they were. And I'm not knocking that. That's fine. But if that leads us to believe that community is going to resolve everything and be perfect, well, that's kind of a setup. And I have spoken with adults who joined some kind of community, whether that was a religious community or an activism community or a co-op, and then been disappointed by the behavior of the people in that group and left the group only to go on searching for another group. Part of why being in community is difficult is because that even if we group up with people that we think have the same ideas, beliefs, values as we do, they may or may not express them in the same way that we do. I'll give you an example. I am mostly vegetarian. My mom is Korean immigrant and my dad is first generation. And I went with some friends to visit another friend's family home. At the meal, the mom put greens on my plate. And I smelled these delicious looking greens and I was like, oh, for sure there was meat in the preparation of these greens, which is, I think, how they're supposed to be made. And I ate them, even though I knew that there was for sure some meat in the making of those greens. Another one of our friends who was there that night was also a vegetarian. And that person had made it known multiple times that they were vegetarian before we even sat down. And so when they had their plate served, there were no greens on their plate. And so after the meal, this person, this other vegetarian, said to me, well, I thought you were a vegetarian. And I said, mostly. And they were like, no, I would never eat such a thing, which they hadn't, obviously. The thing was that while I have a value on eating as a vegetarian, I also have a value on how I show up as a guest in someone else's house. And I learned as a child that part of me showing up well as a guest at someone else's house is to eat what's in front of me, right? And so I had competing values, and the value of being a good guest won. Plus, I was guessing that the greens were going to be delicious. But for my friend, this was just outrageous behavior. And they told me that I shouldn't even call myself a vegetarian. Which, maybe they're right. But how do you get to decide what I'm going to call myself? I could have been mad about it. I could have said just what I said just now and not been friends with that person anymore. But if I want to stay in community, I have to be willing to have those hard conversations. I have to be willing to see where you're coming from, try to understand where you're coming from. We may not agree in the end, but I need to be able to stick it out with you so that we can find which points we do agree on and respect each other there. I want to encourage you, if you're looking for community, if you're hoping to be in community, if you want to build more connections, that you think about all the different identities you have. Remember, we talked about this before, all the multiplicity of selves that you have, and think about creating communities for each of those selves. If you're a teacher, think about what kinds of teacher communities you can be in. If you're a parent, think about what kinds of parent communities you can be in. If you're a knitter, a dog owner, a runner. As a psychologist, I don't think we just need one community. I think we need many communities. Have you ever done that activity where you use the dry spaghetti noodles and marshmallows and try to create a structure? The most stable structure is never going to be one with just a single spaghetti. You need at least 3. And so as you're thinking about community, think about what are the ways you can spread that community out so that you get some of your needs met at your spiritual community, and some of your needs are met at your workout community, and some of your needs are met at your work-related community. You're an awesome individual, and I want you to spread that love around. Because not only do you need multiple communities, but multiple communities need you. I'd love to hear in the comments some of the communities that you're a part of. And as always, like and subscribe for more content. Take care, y'all.